What I thought we'd do today is take a short look at some of the issues related to the local government meeting project, which is one of the, well, it's not one of the, it is the major assignment for the semester. I require you to go to a local government meeting and write up a little report about what you observe at that meeting, as well as tie what you observe to the larger lessons, the larger information that we learn in this class. When you first get to your class webpage, it'll look something like this. Of course, it'll probably have a different date. It won't say 2011 Summer 1. You click on Lessons, and it will bring up the list of lessons and so forth. And down at the bottom, usually near the bottom, probably the last or second last item, it'll say Local Government Meeting Project Dropbox. That's where you find the instructions for doing the local government meeting project. As you're reading through the project guidelines, and I recommend looking at this every now and then, you'll notice that it has a due date, probably within the last 3 weeks of the semester, last 2.5, 3 weeks of the semester. It will be due during the day, because that way if someone has a problem submitting, I will be able to help them, or someone at the help desk will be able to help. And it probably will be due on a Monday, because Mondays are good. One of the things that I've found in the past is if I have it due on a Wednesday, everybody goes to the meeting the Tuesday night before, which doesn't give a lot of time for reflection, a lot of time for thought with the projects. I just get something that's essentially thrown together. So the date due will appear here. What I would do is use the strategy of going to the meeting early in the semester, recording the information on the sheet, which we'll take a look at in just a second, and then writing up the paper maybe as you go along through the semester, because there is a question at the end of the answer, or the end of the observation sheet, the observation checklist, that asks you to reflect on how what you've observed informs what you've learned in the class. How does it relate to what you've learned in the class? And we'll talk about that in part 2, where we take a look at the actual form that you have to fill out. Okay, here are the directions. You will attend a meeting of a local government and record observations about that meeting. Down a little bit lower, there's a link that has the questions. I recommend that when you type up your questions, you write them in a question and answer format. And I'll give you an example in just a little bit of what I mean by question and answer format. By local government, you don't have to come to Canyon. If you live in Canyon, then you can go to a Canyon local government. If you feel better, you might work in Amarillo. You might work somewhere else, and you can go to a local government. Local government is the government that's closest to you. Here are some examples. City Council or City Commission. That's a local government. Meeting of the County Commissioners Court. In Texas, and actually in every state except Louisiana, some of the New England states, and Alaska, everybody lives in a county. At least you live in a county. That you likely live in a school district as well, but I would recommend these two meetings as being your top two. I always list Zoning and Planning Commission meetings. They're not the world's most exciting, and they have two issues. Sometimes they can either be really short, 10 or 15 minutes, or really long, 3-4 hours. I would probably immediately jump to the meeting of a school board, the Board of Trustees of a public school district. The school board of a private school doesn't count. It's not a government. Meeting of the Board of Regents of a community college or public junior college, like Amarillo College or Midland College. The meeting of the Board of Directors of a hospital district, water district, noxious weed district, one of my personal favorites. Meeting of the Board of Utilities of a Board of Directors of a municipal utility district. You don't find a lot of municipal utility districts in the Texas Panhandle, but there are some in the eastern part of the state, down right along I-35, and then east, the Houston area, the San Antonio area. Actually, interestingly enough, not so many around Dallas. Meetings that are not appropriate. Now this one says any meeting held prior to June 1st. It's essentially held prior to the first day of the semester. I want you to go to the meeting during the semester. Any form of student meeting, like student senate, fraternity, or sorority, is not allowed. That does not count. It's not a government. It does not tax people. It is just not a government. Any type of on-campus debate or political forum. Typically, these types of debates and forums and stuff, there's no decisions made. There might be a collection of information. Someone might be telling you what's going to happen, but there's no decisions being made at that meeting. Any type of off-campus, same idea. Any type of the meaning a board of directors of private or parochial schools because they're not local governments. Chambers of commerce are also not local governments. If the body collects taxes from people and is not the federal government or the state government, it is probably a local government. In Texas, if people pay property taxes to it, it is a local government. State of Texas, at least at this point, state of Texas, only local governments may assess property taxes. If you have any questions, it's best to ask me before you attend the meeting. Just shoot me a quick course mail. Dr. Rausch, I want to go to Canyon City Commission. I want to go to Lubbock City Council. Fine. I'll shoot something back saying, good luck. And I always recommend before you go to a meeting, you don't have to call the body that you're going to go attend, the local government, but I always recommend you call just in case they change the schedule. It's supposed to meet at 6, but one of the board members is going to be a little bit late, so decided to change it to 6:30. You want to do that just as a matter of knowing where you're going. Also, it's good to call and find out where the meeting is located. If you do not attend an appropriate meeting, you will receive 0 points for the project. You may also receive a 0 if your paper is not noticeably different from the paper submitted by another student. And I do call the local governments every now and then, particularly if I find something odd. I've had three students go to the same meeting, and one student says there were 7 people in the audience, and the other one says there were 30 people in the audience. Something's not quite right. So I end up calling the local government, and I find out that local government didn't meet that day. That's a problem. Plan ahead. You want to plan ahead. Some of these local governments do not meet very often. Some only meet once a year. Now the nice thing is, those that meet once a year, the ones I'm familiar with around the Canyon area, actually meet in the fall. You might want to check your local paper. You can just check Google. You might want to check your local paper. You can look at Google, do a Google search. You don't know what your local government's called, perhaps, but you live in Odessa, so you just type in Odessa City Council, and it'll bring up the Odessa City Council. You might want to put Odessa, Texas City Council, because there are some other cities I know, for example, in Nebraska, and then, of course, definitely in the Ukraine. Then here are the directions. If you're not using Microsoft Word, you want to save it in rich text format, and I can show you how to do that. You might want to, if you're not familiar with rich text format, every word processing program has a save as feature. You're probably just used to doing a save, but if you do a save as, you can save it then in rich text format. After you've submitted the project, what you want to do is go back maybe in an hour or 2 hours and come back into this Dropbox here. You'll be